Disney's early entry has changed in 2025, and most families are making mistakes that cost them hours every day. So in this video, we're going to show you exactly what Disney hotel guests get access to, the new changes happening this summer, and then share our early entry step-by-step strategies that actually work at all 4 parks up next. Welcome aboard, everyone. I'm Don B from Eat, Sleep, Disney, and let's start with the basics. Early theme park entry gives qualifying guests access to any Disney World theme park 30 minutes before it opens to the general public. This happens every single day at all 4 parks: Magic Kingdom, EPCOT, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. Now, this replaced the old extra magic hour system back in 2021, and in our opinion, it's actually much better in many ways. The old system only worked at select parks on certain days, but early entry is available everywhere, every day. That means the crowds are more spread out instead of everyone rushing to one park. So, who qualifies for this? Well, you need to be staying at a Disney Resort hotel, or one of their select partner hotels. For Disney hotels, this includes all value resorts like All Star Movies, Pop Century, and Art of Animation, as well as all the moderate resorts, like the Port Orleans properties, Coronado Springs, and Caribbean Beach, and all the deluxe resorts, including the Contemporary, Grand Floridian, Polynesian, the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Wilderness Lodge, among others, plus every Disney Vacation Club property. But here's something many people don't know. There are also select off-site hotels that offer early entry. The big ones are Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin hotels, which are often hundreds of dollars cheaper per night than comparable Disney resorts. There are also Marriott resorts, which means you can use your Bonvoy points to stay there. Other resorts such as the Four Seasons Resort in Orlando, several Hilton properties like the Buena Vista Palace, Holiday Inn Orlando, Shades of Green, and several others. And we have a complete list of all the hotels that are eligible for early entry back on our website, and you get the link in the description down below. Here's how it works. Disney transportation to the parks starts running 1 hour before early entry begins. You'll need your regular park ticket or Magic Band. There's no special pass required. And everyone whose name's on the hotel reservation automatically gets this benefit. Once you're scanned in through the turnstiles and head into any of the 4 parks, you'll see a sign or cast members directing you to early entry. There, you'll need to scan your Magic Band, mobile pass, or your key to the World Card to verify that you're currently staying at a resort that qualifies for early entry. Once you scan in, you're officially in the parks and ready to tackle what's available during early entry. Now, let's talk about that, because in 2025, there have been some changes to what's available at some of the parks during early entry. The biggest news is that Disney is adding character meet and greets during early entry hours. This is happening through September 1st of 2025 as part of what Disney is calling Cool Kids Summer. This means that select Disney characters will be available for photos and interactions during that 30-minute early entry window before the park officially opens. Now, Disney has been intentionally vague about exactly which characters will appear during early entry, but there have been some confirmed sightings on social media. For example, Star-Lord has been spotted roaming the Guardians of the Galaxy line during early entry, but there have also been various character appearances throughout the parks during these hours. Disney describes these as roaming character encounters and surprise appearances, so you can't necessarily plan around meeting a specific character, but this can change your strategy if you're traveling with little children. Think about it. Character lines can be 45 minutes to an hour plus during regular park hours. Another big change in 2025 is Disney is no longer utilizing virtual queues, at least currently, for any of the attractions. So over at Magic Kingdom, Tron Light Cycle Run now has a regular standby line instead of a virtual queue system. Test Track 3.0 officially opened on July 22nd, and this attraction is part of the Lightning Lane Multipass as a Tier 1 attraction, joining the likes of Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, but it will also be open during early entry. So this also impacts the strategy depending on the types of rides and attractions you want to experience. Now that you have the logistics and the basics, let's dive into some park-specific strategies And let's start with the park with the most attractions, Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom has over 40 rides and attractions, and unlike some of the other parks, not all of them are available during early entry. During early entry, guests get access to most of Fantasyland and Tomorrowland attractions. In Fantasyland, these include Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan's Flight, It's a Small World, The Mad Tea Party, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Under the Sea, Prince Charming Regal Carousel. The Barnstormer, you also get access to Mickey's PhilharMagic. In Tomorrowland, you get access to Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, Tomorrowland Speedway, the People Mover, Carousel of Progress, and the Astro Orbiter. Here's your strategy. First, plan to arrive at the park at least 45 minutes before early entry starts. So if Magic Kingdom opens at 9 a.m., this means early entry begins at 8:30 a.m., and Disney transportation starts running somewhere around 7:30 a.m. So try to get on one of those first buses, monorail, or boats to Magic Kingdom. If you're staying at deluxe resorts near Magic Kingdom, like the Contemporary, feel free to walk. Everyone enters through the main gate regardless of whether you have early entry or not. Once inside, cast members will direct you to early entry guests towards the hub, where you'll follow signs to either Fantasyland or Tomorrowland entrances. Your first priority should be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train Ride. This is consistently the most popular early attraction and will have the longest wait once regular guests enter the park. After that, you can make a decision. You can head to Peter Pan's Flight, which historically has very long waits throughout the day. Or if you're traveling with little kids who prefer Winnie the Pooh, right next to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train Ride is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which honestly can have some long waits, especially later in the morning through the afternoon. If you're more into thrill rides, you can head to Space Mountain for early entry, which often has much shorter waits during this window. But don't make a critical mistake of going to Tron Light Cycle Run. Even though Tron now has a standby line, it's not included in early entry. What happens is, early entry guests are allowed to line up at Tron at early entry, but then you have to wait until the park officially opens, say 9 a.m., for riders to start boarding the ride vehicles. You're probably better off using Tron's standby line later in the day, where you can actually walk on the ride, typically after the fireworks has some of the shortest waits, or if you really want to ride Tron and not wait in line, consider purchasing a single pass lightning lane for that attraction. Things get more complicated at EPCOT, especially now that Test Track 3.0 has reopened, and that EPCOT technically has 2 separate entrances. So your EPCOT early entry strategy will depend on your preferences as well as where you're staying. Currently, the attractions available during early entry are Test Track 3.0, Frozen Ever After, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Mission Space, Soaring Around the World, Spaceship Earth, and The Seas with Nemo and Friends. All the same rules apply. If the park is opening at 9 a.m., that means early entry starts at 8:30, and that Disney transportation starts running sometime around 7:30. If you're taking the bus or monorail to EPCOT, you'll enter through the front gates near Spaceship Earth. Thrill seekers will want to head straight to the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind once the rope officially drops at 8:30. Arguably, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is the best attraction at EPCOT, and it is not part of the multi-pass lightning lane. The second most popular attraction for thrill seekers is Test Track 3.0. However, that is part of the multi-pass lightning lane, so it is possible that you could walk straight to Cosmic Rewind and then have a lightning lane return window for later in the day for Test Track. Families with little kids will want to take the trek out to Frozen Ever After, which is in Norway, which can be quite a walk, but is the most popular family-friendly attraction with wait times that can last over an hour. If you time things right, you'll be getting out of one of those attractions a couple minutes or right when park officially opens, so we suggest jumping into another line nearby. Even if you have to wait a half hour or 40 minutes for something like Test Track or Frozen Ever After, you're still going to be waiting considerably less time than those who are just entering the park. However, your strategy completely changes if you're arriving by the Skyliner or staying at an EPCOT area resort where you can walk or utilize the friendship boats to access EPCOT. Then the strategy is simple. You should head straight to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Because guests staying at those hotels can enter EPCOT through the International Gateway and World Showcase. This puts you much closer to Remy's. So if you're at the Beach Club, Yacht Club, or staying at a partner hotel like the Swan or Dolphin, it is a no-brainer to start with Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Then, if you don't mind waiting another 30 or 40 minutes, head over to Frozen Ever After. Over at Hollywood Studios, technically, Hollywood Studios has the most generous early entry program because every single attraction participates. That includes Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, Star Tours, Toy Story Mania, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and Alien Swirling Saucers. This makes it the most reliable early entry strategy, but it also means you're competing with more early entry guests. Like the International Gateway at EPCOT, there are several hotels near Hollywood Studios where guests can actually walk to the front gates or take their friendship boats. So if you really want to be among some of the first people into Hollywood Studios, we recommend staying in one of those resorts and using the walking paths to get there, especially early in the morning. The primary choice should be Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance, since it's the most popular attraction in Hollywood Studios and one of the most popular in all of Disney World. However, Rise has a reputation for technical difficulties early in the morning. Now, cast members usually don't let you hang around waiting to see if Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance will open, and unfortunately, they do not let you queue if the attraction is definitely not running during early entry. Oftentimes, cast members will redirect guests when Rise of the Resistance is not open to ride Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Now, this isn't a bad strategy, as you can typically get on Smuggler's Run and off and back to Rise of the Resistance before 9 a.m. to see if the ride is running. As magically it is the case, the attraction opens right before park official open or shortly thereafter. Either way, as soon as you enter the park, see if you can find a cast member who's willing to tell you if Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance is up and running, and if it's not, you need a backup plan. That backup should be Slinky Dog Dash, which is very popular but tends to operate more reliably. Now, if you have little kids, you should definitely walk directly to Slinky Dog Dash. And while you're there, you can usually hit Slinky Dog Dash and Toy Story Mania before park open. And if your kids are big Toy Story fans, you can stick around to do the Alien Swirling Saucers or do some of the meet and greets, which usually start a few minutes after park opens. Of course, your strategy at Hollywood Studios will be impacted by your Lightning Lane selections. Whether you purchase a single pass to Rise of the Resistance or a multi-pass, you should head to another attraction or head to an attraction you know you want to do twice. For Lightning Lanes, we recommend prioritizing Slinky Dog Dash as your top tier choice. If that's the case, we suggest going to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway during early entry and then heading to another ride like Toy Story Mania or another attraction that is close to your first Lightning Lane arrival window. On the other hand, if you're a big Star Wars fan and want to guarantee you can get on Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance with little wait, you can always buy a single pass Lightning Lane for that attraction, then head to a different attraction during early entry. Now, if all of this sounds overwhelming, don't worry. Animal Kingdom has the simplest early entry strategy because there's really only one attraction worth prioritizing, and that's Avatar: Flight of Passage. The other early entry attractions are the Na'vi River Journey, Dinosaur, and Expedition Everest, but none of these typically have long waits throughout the day, and they're spread far apart geographically. Flight of Passage is a long duration attraction and extremely popular, and to be honest, it's probably Heidi and I's favorite attraction across all 4 Disney theme parks, although given its really long queue and 4.5-minute ride time, it's impossible to hit multiple rides during your early entry window if you target this attraction. But if Flight of Passage is a priority for your family, early entry is definitely worth it. If you've taken our advice and arrived at Animal Kingdom 45 minutes before early entry, odds are you can ride Flight of Passage and then get in line for the Na'vi River Journey right before the park officially opens. Or, if you're as crazy as us, you can get off Flight of Passage and then hustle to the front of the attraction to get back in line before the park officially opens. Now that you have our strategies and inside tips for making the most of early entry in 2025, we're going to share with you the biggest mistakes we still see families making. And that number one mistake is not allowing enough travel time. Yes, Disney transportation starts an hour before early entry, but you need to account for wait times, especially during busy season. So make sure to get to the bus stop or in line for the monorail before that official start time to ensure you're among some of the first individuals on that Disney transportation. Early entry is available at all 4 parks, so make sure to choose the correct park. Magic Kingdom has the most options, but also can have the biggest crowds. As we just mentioned, Animal Kingdom is the simplest, but also the most limited. Depending on which hotel you're staying at and which rides you prefer to ride, EPCOT has a more difficult and complicated strategy. Then there's Hollywood Studios, which offers the best overall value since all attractions can participate, but can often include a lot of walking as you're going from one attraction to the next, especially if one of them's closed early in the morning. Perhaps one of the biggest mistakes we'll still see, and hopefully you won't make after watching this video, is knowing which attractions are actually available during early entry. As we just reviewed, not every attraction in every park participates. So know your game plan ahead of time, plus with some backups, so you don't waste that 30-minute window. Another mistake guests often make is not considering Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass options in conjunction with early entry. You can use early entry for the attractions that are available during the 30-minute window, then use the Lightning Lanes for popular attractions later in the day, which will save you more time. Keep in mind, Disney Resort guests can book Lightning Lane Multipass and Single Passes up to 7 days in advance, while off-site guests only get 3 days. That's a huge advantage. And depending how many days you're staying at Disney World, you might be better off purchasing Lightning Lanes on several occasions versus upgrading your tickets to a park hopper. Now, these early entry mistakes are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Disney planning errors that can derail your vacation. In fact, we've identified the top 20 Disney World mistakes that families make over and over again and how to avoid them. In that video, we give you our insider tips and tricks to ensure you're one step ahead of everyone else in the parks. That way, your next Disney vacation is truly unforgettable.